All right, so let's get started with our topic of discussion today. And I just want to first introduce our guest right here with me in the studio, Adil Singh Boparai, Congress spokesperson, as is Ankit Lal, who's not only written a book on social media, but is also somebody who is a social media and IT strategist right from the beginning of the Aam Aadmi Party. Shivam Shankar Singh, who has been associated in the past with the BJP, but no longer is with them, is a political consultant now. And also Udit Raj, Lok Sabha MP of the BJP. Also joining us is Karnika Seth, Supreme Court lawyer, but perhaps out here for her expertise on cyber issues like the one we're addressing today. Thanks so much, all of you, for being with us. I think, Ankit, I just want to start with you because I'll expect that you wouldn't give a political opinion out here. You'll give an opinion that is important to understand how this is important for elections and how this is going to affect people's lives. What do you make of this particular warning that the government has sent to social media bosses in India that if you don't fall in line, there could be an issue, we could take action against you?
The government as an institution is failing. The current government is failing because it hasn't been able to use the legal recourses available to itself in the form of police and other things to curb the fake news menace. And now they're trying to shift the responsibility from their shoulders to the shoulders of the tech giants who are actually enablers in a sense. We are not a China. We are not a China that will ban a Google and Twitter and a Facebook. We are a mature democracy. We should behave like one. The BJP is not taking the responsibility as it should.
Okay, my question is it possible for WhatsApp and Facebook and tech giants like that to actually make some changes, alter what they do so that these kind of rumors can be stalled, curbed, even stopped?
WhatsApp did one small change in past few weeks, which was being able to send forward only to 5 groups.
Yeah.
India is the only country in which it made that change.
You're saying that's all they can do?
That is something that they did on their part.
Okay.
They at least made a start.
Okay.
What has the government done on its part? What has the government
done
apart from lip service? That is my question to the government as such.
Okay, let me get in Udit Raj. Sir, you're from the BJP, perhaps in a position to answer for the government, at least give your perspective. You can start by telling us what your opinion is on the matter and then perhaps answer what Ankit has said.
See, I have to say that social media is passing through transition phase, and anything which passes through formative and transition phase has, of course, deleterious impact also on the society. And our policemen are still not equipped enough to nab the culprits or those who are doing this fake business on social media, trying to mold the opinion, which is not true. That's one thing. Second is that nothing too panicky about it. Like any invention has a double-edged weapon. It's a double-edged weapon. Like we created the gun, we created the bomb. It has both the implications.
Sorry, sir, I just am asking you to clarify on this comment that you make that there is nothing that we don't need to panic right now.
Only.
I'm sorry, I just want to make a point about you saying that there's no reason to panic right now.
Let me
complete. One sec, sir.
Why to target social media only?
You can complete, sir, but you can complete. But I just want you to clarify what you mean by saying there's nothing to panic because more than 90 people have died in lynchings in recent times. So I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
Then, of course, these are isolated events. Of course, it has a bearing. I said that it has deleterious impact, harmful impact on the society. I'm not denying it. The very fact is that it has helped in other way, in a big way. But of course, certain shortcomings are there, lacunas are there. They are to be plugged. And tell me, when social media was not there, then also there used to be a lot of killing, lot of lynching, etc. I do agree with you, but at the same time, just blaming social media. You see, what the newspapers are doing, what the televisions are doing.
Blaming social media.
They are taking up sensitive issues. When Kerala deluge, at the time of Kerala deluge, what they were talking about. So it's not that it's only social media which is not discharging its responsibility, but I will say that similarly and same like Delhi newspapers and televisions, they all are trying to sell the news. So they also have deleterious, harmful effects on the society. Let there be debate on the role of the televisions also.
Okay, all right.
National
Okay,
newspapers
sir.
also.
Okay, I just
why only about the fake news on social media?
Okay, okay, sir. Adil, I want to ask you, keep aside the fact that he is also admitted that the police is not equipped to handle the current crisis of lynchings happening, how they happen, rumors, tech being used to initiate, in a sense, hate mongering. The point out here is that what solution is the Congress going to offer in this situation?
Well, firstly, let me preface my comments. If there is one party which has misused social medium, which could have otherwise been used very constructively, is the BJP. This is point number one.
How will the Congress
point number two, let me make my point further. As far as technology giants are concerned, it's of course important, and there are sufficient provisions. There is a legal regime under the IT Act, and they must cooperate with the police and assist the investigation as and when the need arises. This is point number two. But the problem is not this. The BJP is missing the woods for the trees. The problem is that Mr. Modi and Amit Shah have sown the seeds of hatred in this country. Their politics of divisiveness is tearing down our social fabric. This is the reality. When union ministers drape the bodies of murder accused with the tricolour, what message are you sending to your cadres?
I asked you
when you garland and felicitate them, what message are you sending to your cadres?
I'll let you
That's
respond,
the real
sir.
problem, Amit.
So I'll actually
you cannot skirt around the issue.
Fine.
That's
the
problem.
problem that you stated it, you've repeated it. I asked you a question, would you mind answering that?
Well, there have to be adequate checks and balances. The cyber system, let's take Delhi police for example. The Delhi police cyber system needs to be overhauled. Cyber system across the country, cyber police needs to be strengthened. They need to be given the wherewithal to pursue all these cases. The response time between the police and, let's say, Gmail or YouTube for that matter has to be reduced. There has to be better policing. The police also has to be sensitized about cyber laws. I think that's the way forward.
All right, okay, we'll take that point. I think Shivam is in a better position to answer a number of questions right now about how this is used in politics. And we keep talking about lynchings, but Shivam, this kind of a situation, I am a bit baffled because there have been allegations that have been made in the past, particularly past few months when Cambridge Analytica came into being, the whole scandal came to light. At that point, people were talking about how everyone is trying to manipulate the minds of the voter by using these kind of fake news, misinterpretation, WhatsApp forwards, etc., etc. Now you have the government itself coming about and saying that, okay, we need to take action against these social media giants through which this kind of communication actually happens. But what is going to happen to the kind of political engineering that the BJP has, according to allegations, mastered?
So there are two things. First of all, BJP had the largest network of WhatsApp groups. It had the largest Facebook pages under its control, pages that aren't officially BJP pages but managed by people who support the party. Similarly, with WhatsApp, they had 20 to 25,000 groups in the state of Karnataka itself. So they were the largest, but other parties have started to catch up now. They're also building their own Facebook groups. They're also building their own network. And these groups too are being used to peddle fake news now. What I would like to start with at the onset is that the Home Ministry was absolutely the wrong place to place this issue in. What's happened is that the committee has seen the issue as a policing issue. They've said that we need stricter norms. We need to file FIRs against the country head of tech giants. This is not how you handle an issue like this. Ideally, it should have been placed under the IT ministry, which looked at the apps, which talked with stakeholders in the IT industry to figure out how this could have been handled. It's not an issue that can be handled by just a piece of legislation.
No, I'm sorry, but one sec. What makes you think that they haven't considered those thoughts? They may have actually brought in those kind of experts.
So the panel itself did not have the Secretary for IT on it. It was headed by the Home Secretary. It was not headed by the IT Secretary. So they might have brought it in, but the provisions that have come to the public domain, like filing FIRs against the heads of technology giants, are something that are policing measures. They're not technological solutions. The Supreme Court told the government to look into how instances of lynching could be stopped, how they could be preempted, how the spread of fake news could be preempted. There is nothing preemptory in the entire thing. What has come out in the public domain is a document that would basically punish people and target social media giants instead of actually addressing the core issue.
All right. Okay. Let me just tell our viewers, because this came up. The high-level committee was chaired by the Union Home Secretary to deliberate the matter and make a recommendation. That recommendation has been made today. That included the Secretary Department of Justice, the Secretary Department of Legal Affairs, Secretary Legislative Department, and Secretary Social Justice and Empowerment. These were the members, and they were supposed to submit it to the government within 4 weeks. That government is basically the Home Minister, who chairs a group of senior ministers. But also Tehseen Poonawalla, who was the petitioner to the Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court also did mention that the country cannot be a mobocracy. He was the petitioner, so he also gave a presentation to them. Now, what I understand from what he told me is that there was no recommendation as such made by him to take action against these giants, these social media giants. So let me just bring in right now Kanika. Kanika, legally speaking, hands are tied, because WhatsApp is basically saying that we cannot give you the name of the person who basically came up with that first forward, that first message. Yes. All right, because that in a sense is their entire product. That is what it's based on, privacy. Now, if that is the case, firstly, I have been told that's not also the case. They can find a way to actually isolate the name of the person, but also just get the IP address. That's another option. Can you just throw some light on whether WhatsApp is right when they say they cannot share that information with the government, and therefore this is not actually going to be curbed, because anyone can come up with a message today, and that can become a rumor, fake news?
That's the issue here is basically when we say privacy and security, we understand that most social media networks would want to have that privacy in place. Definitely, I mean, it's a fundamental right and one ought to respect it. It's the law of the land. However, when it comes to law enforcement, and if there have been certain offensive materials put on any particular, say a page or a particular, web service or a social media platform, there has to be some accountability. There has to be some kind of traceability. And that's the whole debate also about localization, that in case there is an investigation required to be made, to find out what kind of content has floated and the illegality of that, who is the offender of that particular, content, one has to go to the roots of the matter.
Yeah, but how will you do that now?
Originator.
How will you do that?
There has to be technology in place, and should be shared. The information should be shared when the law enforcement requests for it.
So you're basically saying that WhatsApp has got to give the name. That's what you're clear
Absolutely.
about. Okay.
Yes, I feel so, because
but they have not done that even in the US.
That's true. That is the thing. This is what is being debated when we say India. We have to see that how do we nab the original persons who are perpetrators of crime, especially if it is a gang operation, if it's a modus operandi of
or you don't.
Hate speech.
You start with what you can control. That is the police.
Okay, if we say police, then obviously I agree that the police needs to be trained, and they are getting certain trainings. The government is trying to make an advisory, but then it requires sensitization of the public as well. There has to be a
So there's no short-term solution. Okay, Ankit, come in. Both of you come in. Ankit, quickly. Yeah.
So right now what we are trying to do is shoot the messenger rather than actually tackle the problem at its very base, which is people.
Can you prove it?
There's no way that we can prove that this message was being propagated by one person as such. There can be a number of people propagating the message, but whenever somebody is caught spreading the message, why don't we first of all get hold of that person responsible? Right now we are just beating around the bush, talking about how do you catch the person who actually came up with the message. Why not just
You're saying there's
start
a larger
with the
conspiracy.
very basic?
There's a larger conspiracy out there,
Right.
and that needs to be identified.
Let's start with the very basic fact that those who forward the message.
Yeah, Kanika, go ahead. Go ahead, Kanika.
Now, I want to say that basically you need to investigate a crime. How else will, if there's no conviction, if there is no arrest or no investigation, then what is the point of having law and order in the country?
If as a user I receive something which I get offended by, or which I feel is something problematic, which might end up causing a problem in the society, I will complain to the police. The one who I received the message from should be caught first and asked, why did you send it?
Adil,
where it came from.
I agree. Every person who forwards such message which is illegal in nature needs to be also roped in. Definitely.
Okay.
It's not something that only the originator. I agree with you on that.
What you are proposing is actually to convict and penalize the victim itself. It is very possible that someone who receives the WhatsApp forward actually believes that this is the truth and this is correct, and then he
but one sec, Shivam,
that is the entire problem that
hold on.
right.
One sec, Shivam, you've got a point out there. What I'm asking you is that, let me ask you as somebody who knows this. I'll just get you in. You also know that there are those who are spreading these WhatsApp forwards without even knowing what it's about.
Exactly. Definitely.
So that's the point. I think I think the point Ankit is trying to make is that there's a bigger issue.
Once a system has pushed it into enough phones and enough numbers, people who are forwarding it actually believe in the message. In fact, parties identify people who are likely to believe such a message and forward it specifically to their groups, to communities who've already been primed to believe such messages.
Interesting.
So if you just started catching people who forwarded it, then you're actually penalizing a victim of the fake news. Who's
okay, sorry, Adil, let Adil
work with the BJP. I believe Shivam is giving an insight.
For a person who has no intention
to
commit
Can I come in, please?
Adam,
can I come
in?
Adil, go ahead. Adil, go
30
ahead.
seconds.
Kanika,
I'll
one
very
sec.
patiently.
Go ahead.
The BJP is misleading the country. If ever there is a repugnancy between the law of the land and a company policy, it's the law of the land which will prevail. This is basic elementary law. Point number one. Point number two, there are sufficient safeguards under the CRPC to compel WhatsApp to assist them
let's
in
get
the
down
investigation.
to the core of it. We are basically saying that the BJP is knowingly doing this. All of
the
this.
BJP wants to deflect the issue because BJP has become a symbol of hatred in this country. They feed this narrative. If you look at fake messages, if you look at all these messages which create fault lines in society, it's the BJP. The BJP is a reservoir of hatred and bigotry in this country. They're trying to shield their own people. The first place to really stop this is the BJP IT cell. You stop that. Why is it that lynchings have drastically increased post 2014?
Yes, Mr. Udit Raj, please
not
respond.
that technology didn't exist prior to 2014.
Let him respond. Let him respond. Go ahead, sir.
I disagree with him in the sense that
I'm not surprised.
today the social media is used by common people, every section, and there are fringe elements in all societies. In
Sir,
every
Jayant
place.
Sinha can't be called a
let
fringe
him talk.
element.
Let him
In
talk.
their
Let him talk.
personal interest, whatever they upload such fake news and poisonous news. Doesn't mean that the party is responsible. The BJP is a very large,
No,
large
sir, one
party,
sec.
largest
Mr. Raj,
party
what
in the
they
country.
do, as
And
Shivam is
many
giving you an
other
insight right now, what
parties
they
also
actually
there.
do
There
is
are
they
crores
don't
of
get
the
people who
followers.
work for the party.
If some
but
follower,
they hire
but
those
if
who are
some
inclined
follower-
to be supportive of the party. They are sympathetic to the party's views. They employ them. They are already on the edge, and therefore they believe that the news that they are sending out as a WhatsApp forward is something they actually that is actually the truth.
No, not employ them. But the party cadre actually believes in an ideology. The party cadre is primed to believe in certain messages.
You have not.
When they
You have
receive
not.
it, they actually
You have
start
not
believing
given
that
me
it's true.
opportunity
Okay,
to
go
be
ahead,
heard
sir.
because I need to clarify certain issues which are directly related to me and to my party. See, for the one feel that social media has done good a lot, has benefited a lot, and social media is accessible to the common people, and therefore I for the one feel I for the one stand for freedom of the social media, expansion of social media. I appreciate the role of social media, but there are certain disadvantages and certain harms. That doesn't mean that the social media should itself be downgraded or its utility is not there.
So are you saying you don't agree with what the government is doing?
See, what I am saying is, government, I only will say that where are the fake news, they should be nabbed. In all other matter, I am not saying that the
how?
How
are they going to be nabbed?
To disclose the source.
How are they going to be nabbed, sir?
Only because file the complaint.
Yeah, file a complaint, but you yourself are saying the police is not equipped to handle this.
Etc. They will disclose it.
Sir, but you're saying yourself the police is not equipped to handle this.
Police is to be trained, infrastructure to be built. They are not equipped enough. Sometimes it takes a lot of time.
Okay,
and
happened in past 3 decades
do
now,
not know
and
where to go.
So you're saying the BJP wants more time, sir. The elections are around the corner. You don't have the time to train them because people are going to judge you on what's happening today.
I have another suggestion that, industry
one sec,
bodies
Kanika,
like
one sec, let him respond,
in the
Kanika, one
print
sec.
media, we have industry bodies. Similarly, we have industry bodies in the news sector. We should have an autonomous body even to control fake news. I mean, it's something that will be outside the interference of the government, and it will be a good suggestion to have, this considered.
The problem is it's the BJP which is patronizing these elements. The police's hands are tied.
You repeated yourself. No.
That's the reality.
No.
The government doesn't know how to handle this situation.
How can you say like
They are
this?
trying to shift the onus
Okay,
from
point
themselves.
made. You made that point. Okay.
Blanket.
You made that point, Ankit.
By threatening
statement. I don't think
CEOs
that you
and
can
country
prove it.
operators
No proof
of
of that.
companies,
Whosoever
no
is
proof of
getting the
legal
opportunity,
action, the government
there
can't
are
get away
fringe
from its
elements.
What about
no
the
proof
patronage
of
to
that.
postcards?
No proof of
What
that.
about the
Okay,
patronage to
doing
postcards
no proof
founder?
of that.
There
Okay,
are the
Udit Raj,
workers,
Udit Raj,
maybe
I'm
in
going
the
to
all
give you
political
Mr.
parties.
Udit Raj, I'll give you one last comment.
They are doing all this thing, but you cannot blame the party itself.
Jayant Sinha, Mahesh Sharma, Gyandev Ahuja, the list is endless. Anil
And which is
Vij,
good to the common people, good to the nation.
and the poster boy of fake news is felicitated by your ministers.
He's talking about Jayant Sinha, but you want to respond? I'll let you respond.
Where? How can you say? How can you say? Tell me.
So this is in public domain.
All right, so let's leave this because that has actually happened. But I think
You
I'll
have to
leave this with one thought.
substantiate.
I think what we can leave this with.
Substantiate then.
Okay, sir, substantiated
so,
with the
then of
photograph
course
and
you
then
have to
been
prove it.
discussed, and he's apologized for it also. Let's move on from that. What we're going to do now, sir, is end the show, and thank you all for joining us, Shivam particularly.
There are isolated events,
and of course,
isolated incidents.
Isolated.
I am saying it.
Okay, okay, point taken.
Good.
Okay, fair enough.
Look at the benefit.
Fair enough, fair enough. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for joining us, and also all our guests out here. I think the message that we all need to take, the message is that when you see something on WhatsApp, just think about it. Don't believe it. Thanks so much for watching Trending.